Let's talk about RT, or as it's actually known, the Russian News Network. This is We the People. Now, I spend a bit of time on Facebook, and right now the overwhelming number of people sucking on the Russian propaganda tit is amazing me. Now, I want to say from the top that I love Lee Camp in Redacted Tonight. He's hilarious, and he's the closest thing we have right now to Jon Stewart these days. I also love Ed Schultz, who I believe is an honest man and has a solid basis in fact and can be trusted. But the Russian News Network is still the Russian News Network. It is still Russian, and it is still controlled by the Russian government and Vladimir Putin. With all the bullshit back and forth about Russian hacking and Hillary being a corrupt hag and the CIA and the FBI and Obama, blah, 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 you liberals are waving a goddamn Russian flag. You need to listen to me. I'm a democratic socialist. I am so left that Bernie would freak the fuck out. And Russian television is goddamn propaganda. You are being morons using RT as a news source and listening to them lie to you about Obama's lies and Hillary's lies and everybody else's lies. Good grief, people. Russia? Really? Are you brain dead? Putin was the head of the KGB when the Soviet Union dissolved. He is on record saying he feels that the Soviet Union was a good thing. He wants to bring back the glory days of the Soviet Union, and he has people killed for speaking the truth. What the hell are you thinking, RT? I lose my mind when I see a liberal on Facebook trying to push RT and call it real news. But don't listen to me. Listen to Liz Wall, former RT network news anchor, as she quits on the air in 2014 because she is sick of pushing Russian propaganda.
Last night, RT made international headlines when one of our anchors went on the record and said Russian intervention in Crimea is wrong. And indeed, as a reporter on this network, I face many ethical and moral challenges, especially me personally, coming from a family whose my grandparents came here as refugees during the Hungarian Revolution, ironically to escape the Soviet forces. I have family on the opposite side, on my mother's side, that sees the daily grind of poverty. And I'm very lucky to have grown up here in the United States. I'm the daughter of a veteran. My partner is a physician at a military base where he sees every day the first-hand accounts of the ultimate prices that people pay for this country. And that is why, personally, I cannot be part of a network funded by the Russian government that whitewashes the actions of Putin. I'm proud to be an American and believe in disseminating the truth, and that is why, after this newscast, I'm resigning.
Now, I'm going to read a quote from a 2012 article in the British news agency, The Guardian. And people, this is the news agency which leaked the Snowden documents. So listen to me. From 2012, I quote, "In 2011, 3 journalists dead, including newspaper editor Kazimierz Kamalov, shot 14 times as he left his office. In 2010, 2 killed. In 2009, 5 more, including a young reporter, Novia Gazeta, caught in a hail of bullets. Add 4 more in 2008, 1 in 2007, and then 2006 as Anna Politkovskaya, the most famous victim of them all, is then murdered. But she wouldn't forget Yevgeny Gerismakov, found in a Saratov flat with a plastic bag over his head and his computer missing. And nor should we. 2 Russian news journalists died in 2005, 3 were killed in 2004 and in 2003, but 2002 was an especially wicked year, with 8 lost, including Valery Ivanov, battling editor, who was shot in the head, and in 2001 they added another victim. Putin's reign of power in 2000 began with 6 dead reporters and editors, a grim portent of the future, looking back, of bad things to come. End quote. Mitt Romney has even said in a debate against Obama in 2012 that Russia is our greatest geopolitical threat.
The biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not Al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because the Cold War has been over for 20 years.
Russia, I indicated, is a geopolitical foe. Not a,
Number one.
Excuse me. It's a geopolitical foe. And I said in the same paragraph, I said, and Iran is the greatest national security threat we face. Russia does continue to battle us in the UN time and time again. I have clear eyes on this. I'm not going to wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to Russia or Mr. Putin.
Mitt Romney won't wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to Russia or Putin, and I doubt that he wears rose-colored glasses when he's watching RT. But apparently some liberals are. If you expect to be considered intelligent, well-educated, knowledgeable, well-informed, then you will stop fucking pointing to RT as your fucking news source. Because when you do, you show yourself to be an idiot. You show yourself to be ill-informed. You show yourself to be driven by propaganda from the Russian Empire. Make no mistake about it, Russia is not a democracy. Make no mistake about it, Russia is an authoritarian dictatorship run by an oligarchy headed by a man who murders people who speak out against him. RT is a propaganda tool put forth by the Russian news agency and Vladimir Putin for the purposes of spreading Russian propaganda worldwide and in the United States of America. And we can forgive Lee Camp, he's a comedian. And we can forgive Ed Schultz because they booted him off of MSNBC because he was too left. But when you watch the Russian news and you try to say that what they're telling you is the truth, when you try to listen to Alexei Navalny or whatever his name is over on RT, try to tell you that, WikiLeaks was never involved in Russian propaganda and that the Russians didn't give them that information. When you say that the Russians are telling you the Russians are not helping WikiLeaks, you sound like a moron. If Obama was telling you that he didn't do something, you won't believe him. If Clinton tells you she didn't do something, you don't believe her. If the DNC tells you something that they didn't do, then you don't believe them either, but you'll believe the Russians. You'll believe the Russians and Vladimir Putin. What kind of fool are you? Do you really think that the Russians are thinking of your best interest? We have been in a state of mental war with Russia since the end of World War II. Some of you have parents or grandparents that fought in World War II, that stood face to face with Russians across the Berlin Wall. Some of you have parents or grandparents that spent time in submarines in the Mediterranean prepared to launch nuclear weapons against the Soviet Union and defending our country. Do you not remember that at 13 days in October, Kennedy stood fast against Russia and Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis? Now you're going to tell me that this is not the same Russia. That was the Soviet Union. This is a different Russia. They have democratic elections now in Russia. Bullshit. You're fooling yourself. This is the same kind of idiocy that you went for when you listened to CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, and ABC and believed their lies. When the Clinton News Network flushed Bernie Sanders' campaign down the toilet and refused to report on the fact that he had more people at his rallies than Trump ever did. And that's a fact. We all know that. Did you listen? Yeah, you listened. When you went along with things, then it was okay. But now suddenly, because Clinton didn't win and there was hacking and all this other stuff, now suddenly the CNN can't be trusted, MSNBC can't be trusted, CBS, NBC, ABC, or Fox, they can't be trusted, but the Russian news network can be trusted. Think about how stupid that is. That's like punching yourself in the face and being surprised it hurts. Now, eventually, you've got to trust somebody. Eventually, you've got to believe that your news is coming from a valuable source. But Russia is not it. And for those of you who are thinking that Julian Assange is some kind of hero, and that he's a saint, and that he's not tainted, well, I'll do another show on him later. But the fact of the matter is, whether or not you believe that Russia gave WikiLeaks the DNC information, I don't care. Whether or not you believe that Julian Assange is a liar or a truth sayer or Jesus incarnate, I don't care. Whether you believe any of that, I don't care. What I care about is the fact that I don't want you, that I don't want the American public, that I certainly don't want liberals of all people to believe that Vladimir Putin, his television station, is the most trusted name in news. You've got to be kidding me, self. I mean, really, you're kidding yourself if you even think for a minute that that's the truth. This is propaganda. And you're a fool to think otherwise. And they're going to tell you what you want to hear because you're so pissed off that Hillary lost and Donald Trump is in office that you've completely forgotten the real problem here. You're too busy pointing the fingers at each other in the news networks and everybody's a liar and blah, 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 to the point where my head's about to pop off my shoulders. I'm so pissed off. And the funny thing is I'm not as pissed off at Donald Trump right now as I am at you. RT News. Give me a break. Contact me if you want to complain about what a troll I am and how I'm helping Hillary and how I'm just another liar and how I'm just like McCarthy at WTPAmerica@hotmail.com. I'll probably ignore you because you're an idiot. Come check out my blog at WTP America and complain about me there. Follow me on Facebook and feel free to complain about me there too. Subscribe to the channel, please, and support We the People on Patreon at patreon.com/WTP America. And if you people don't start spending a little bit more time working on fixing the problems in this country instead of pointing fingers at other people and calling them all McCarthyites when they disagree with you or they disagree with a Russian news network, then fuck it, give up. Just throw yourself out a window because we're all fucking doomed anyway. This is Alan Garrett. This is We the People. And Trump takes office in 35 days. 35 days. Wake up. Resist.